I would say grief is a normal response to the extraordinary stress of the death of someone you love. I'm Chaplain Jenny Schroedel, and I work for Hospice with Presbyterian Homes and Services, and I specialize in grief support. Most people in grief will feel like they are losing their minds, because although it's a normal response, it can be quite chaotic. Many of us will experience short-term memory loss, difficulty focusing and concentrating on things, a kind of a floaty feeling and a disorientation. We might get lost in familiar places because of this extraordinary stress of losing a loved one. So grief is going to affect us mentally. It will affect us physically. I think people also don't know this. Some people will experience a lot of actual physical pain in their bodies. I can't tell you how many people in groups will actually tell me, my heart literally hurts. I didn't really understand this expression of broken heart, but I can tell you my heart literally hurts. Sometimes people will have body aches. Sometimes people will have difficulty sleeping or find they need to sleep a whole lot more. Sometimes people will find that their appetite changes. They want to eat more than they used to, or they want to eat a whole lot of comfort food, or they don't want to eat at all, and they lose a lot of weight. So it's going to affect people's bodies, it's going to affect their minds, and it's going to affect people spiritually. Sometimes people will ask spiritual questions that they never knew that they had, that they didn't even know were possible for them. Sometimes people will have an increased desire to find meaning, or even just to understand the afterlife, maybe even a longing to be there with their loved one. In the midst of all of that pain, people may become almost more spiritually minded. One common question, the question that comes up a lot is, when am I going to start to feel better? There's no timeline for grief, and so I always try to be really careful when I answer that question. Grief changes as you go on. Many people will start to feel better somewhere in the first year. Most people don't feel better within a couple of months. And oftentimes within the first 3 months, there's a lot of shock. So people are feeling the shock. They're not feeling the full impact of the loss. As the shock starts to wear off between months 3 and 6, people actually feel often more of the pain. So it actually gets a little worse later on, and I think that's good for people to know. There's nothing wrong if at month 3 or 6 you're actually feeling a little bit worse. It's often when people feel worse that they're pretty close to starting to feel better, because at that point you're really starting to grasp what this loss means for you, and you're starting to really grieve it. So typically the groups that I facilitate, people will come in all stages of their grief. So we might have some people that are 1 month out from a loss, and some people that are 2 years out from the loss, or 3 years out. Where I see hope kind of happening is people that are new in their grief. The loss has just happened, and they don't even know how they're going to survive this huge change in their lives and what all this loss means for them. Those people, to be able to see somebody who's 2 years out, and just to see that person that's 2 years out is able to engage in life, and they still feel pain, but they are once again feeling a sense of possibility in this world. Sometimes people will say, I love to hear from people that are a little further out in the process, because it gives me hope. Not just that I'll survive, but that there will be a life beyond this intense pain that I'm feeling right now. Many people are helped by finding a way to stay connected to their loved one. My great comfort right now is going to Lakewood Cemetery and tending my mom's plot. And I actually have a watering can in the back of my car, because I go over and I water the flowers, and I trim the dead leaves, and then I just sit on her grave and catch up with her, just share with her from my life. That's where I find comfort. As a final point, it does get better. The emotions generally become less intense, even though we can carry loss for many years. But I no longer think of closure as a goal, and most of the people that come to my groups do not say that closure is their goal. The goal is to find a way to live with the loss, and the goal is often to find a way to continue the conversation with our loved ones. Death doesn't end the relationship, and we may continue to think of our loved ones, be inspired by our loved ones, live out their example, and find ways to connect with them, as I do at Lakewood Cemetery with my mom, for the rest of our lives. So it all continues, and there's no need to find closure. And I think this is what healing and grief looks like.